Hey everyone, welcome to the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron on assignment. I don't know why people even say that. He's on vacation. All right. Mario's busy between a bunch of stuff. Gonna have a good time though this summer, and then of course comes back. We'll be ready to go with Mario, but we're gonna have to touch on some topics without Mario. Appreciate everyone that's joining us again as we are live on Thursday. So next show will be Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Again, ask you guys to subscribe and like the show, and then get a chance to talk a little Charger football. Don't forget July 15th. You have the big uniform announcement. A lot of people are really excited about the uniform deal. I'm not excited about the uniform deal just because I love the uniforms they have. Like it's one of those things is you don't fix what's not broken. So the Chargers have this part figured out. They can figure out everything else as well as they did the uniforms. I'd be good, but since they want to go back and touch the uniforms, we're hearing now 2 jerseys coming out, alternate jerseys coming out on July 15th. I'm sure we'll talk about those in a couple weeks when that happens. For people like me, like Josh, who like the uniforms they have right now, they aren't changing those. They aren't throwing those away. It's the alternate jerseys where there's going to be a change. So there you go.
Yeah, I think me and you are in the minority on this one. It seems like a lot of Charger fans are really pumped up about these new Charger uniforms. I don't know what else to say about this. Like, I never seen a team hype up uniform more than the Chargers have. July 15th, we're going to drag it out to July 15th. 3 weeks for this?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do in that time? Is that basically code for save your money to buy the new jerseys? I mean, why? Why don't you just say, hey, guess what? Guess what we're doing today, guys? I have no idea what the whole setup is.
There's none. We have so much going on in June. We got too much going on in June. Let's release him July 15th.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's the NBA draft. You don't want to compete with the NBA draft. Everybody knows all eyes are on the NBA. Just kidding.
It's insane.
It's insane. And I want to change something up because I'm running the show today. I got the controls. Look at this. Trying to put comments on the stage. If anybody writes a comment, I believe it's going to show up. Maybe it won't. Right? I don't know. I just tried it. There we go. There's Leah. She says, Orioles suck, so I'm all in. That's our first comment on the stage. And if you cussed, I'm going to be very upset.
Dude, from my eyes, I can barely see, but I see it rolling now. Okay.
I have good eyes, I think, and I can barely see it as well.
Can you make that font bigger? Is it possible?
I don't know how to do anything. I'm not very smart. We'll fix that in post, I guess. I don't know what to say. Where's Mario at? He's at the beach. You know what? And I can't say anything because I've gone on 300 vacations this year. So good for Mario. Let's start off the show with the topic of the show, right? The title we have right here is, will Justin Herbert run more in 2025? So that's something that we've discussed on this show many times, right? We say Justin Herbert, one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the NFL, super tall, can run. He'd be hard to tackle in the open field, I'd imagine. He just doesn't do it very often. I think Justin Herbert might throw the ball out of bounds more than anybody when he's on the run. I understand you don't want to take big hits. But I think also at some points you should go for the extra yards, especially on 3rd down situations or maybe even a 4th down situation. Just go for it. Greg Roman made a comment right here. It says, I think we'll see Justin use his legs a bit more this year. He can really affect the game with his legs. It creates so much stress on the defense when they have to defend that. That was off the table most of last year. So I have 2 things with that comment right there by Greg Roman. 1, why was it off the table? And 2, why is he going to use his legs this year? Why couldn't he use his legs before? Would you have any opinion on that?
Well, for me, I mean, again, if I was, the head coach of this team, there's one person you can't afford to lose. That's Justin Herbert. Now, I don't know if Justin Herbert's durable or not. I mean, Josh Allen, every time he runs the ball, if I was a Bills fan, I'd be a little bit nervous. And yet he runs the ball a ton, right? He just has a body that absorbs these crazy hits, but you have to figure eventually you're going to run against a force that's going to cause a little bit of an injury. I mean, how many times have you seen a quarterback that breaks a collarbone? I mean, it happens all the time. And so you sit there and you go, man, is it worth it? That's always the question. What is the risk reward for it? I say do it the way the Titans used to do it with Steve McNair. And again, I might be aging myself. This is 20 years ago for people that weren't aware. But when Steve McNair was quarterback of the Titans, he was always able to run. But at the same time, they didn't turn him loose until the playoffs. And once they turned him loose, then it was on. And all of a sudden, defenses were sitting there looking at what the Titans had to offer and what you had to do to stop them. Steve McNair is doing something they weren't prepared for. And so for the Chargers, Do I want to see Justin Herbert run a ton in week 7? Probably not. Do I want to see him run whatever it takes in the postseason? Absolutely.
Absolutely, right. And I'm with you. I don't want Justin Herbert to be running for his life against the Tennessee Titans or one of these games in the middle of the year that doesn't mean much. But when it's a game that you need, maybe against a divisional opponent like the Raiders or the Broncos or the Chiefs, I'm kind of all for it. I'm kind of all for it. I think it shows a lot to your team that it means a lot to you. I don't think any guy on this team, on the Chargers team, doubts that Justin Herbert wants to win. But if you put your head in there a little bit and get some first downs, I think it does a lot for a team. I would hate for him to get hurt, and everybody's going to cuss me out if he does get hurt because they say, remember on June 26th when you said that Justin Herbert should use his legs more? Well, guess what? Now we're stuck with the backup quarterback. So I think it should be timely. In the playoffs, I think all bets are off, right? You got to use your legs as much as you can. Do whatever you can to get every single first down. But I'm happy that Greg Roman made a comment about this because as Charger fans, a lot of us get frustrated. We watch these games and Justin Herbert looks like he can get 3 more yards on a 3rd and 3, but he decides to let up and throw it out of bounds. And it kind of drives a lot of us crazy, but we'll see what the future holds. Do you have anything else on this? Or you want to move?
Yeah, I do. Subject? So I'll give you a breakdown on how this works for the Chargers and Justin Herbert and his history. So Justin Herbert's first year was in 2020. He ran the ball 55 times for 234 yards. Okay, so that was 4.3 yards a carry. 2021, 63 attempts, 302 yards, 4.8 yards a carry. 2022, 54 attempts. Okay, he averaged 2.7 yards a carry. In 2023, 52 attempts, he averaged 4.4 yards a carry. And shocking, Josh, last year he attempted 69 times to run the ball, and he averaged 4.4 yards in attempts. So that was where he was at, and so overall, he did set a record for most attempts last year, but at the same time, it's nowhere close to what you see maybe some of the other guys. And when you say attempts, it's not like design run plays. We all know what it looks like. But when you look at the teams that are successful, right, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's KC, they do get their quarterbacks out there.
They do. They absolutely do. And I really don't think it's sustainable for any quarterback to run as much as Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen do, right? Even guys that are huge, like Cam Newton, they get hurt eventually. It's not sustainable, but you could do it a little bit more. I feel like Justin Herbert definitely falls into that category as somebody that can do it more, especially when you have 2 tackles that are amazing, right? If they can seal the guy inside and you can get around the edge, why not do it? That's all I really have on this. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. No, we'll see how it plays out. Again, the minute Justin Herbert starts running the ball and obviously passes the ball more effectively, which I think it will make him a more effective passer, I think the team becomes better, and I also think Justin Herbert becomes even more of a name. And I'm going to ask you a follow-up on that. Does it bother you that Justin Herbert isn't talked about more in national circles? People will say, yeah, he's great for what the Chargers have, but when you honestly talk about the top 4 quarterbacks, he's not mentioned in those conversations nationally. Does it bother you that your guy's not looked upon the way most Charger fans look at him?
No, not at all. I think we're also in the minority because I know you feel the same way as I do in that conversation. Unless you win a playoff game, you can't be talked about with the big boys. Yeah. Peyton Manning was talking about CJ Stroud recently. I don't know if you saw this. And he said, I don't understand all the hate on CJ Stroud. He's 2 for 2 on getting playoff wins. I didn't win my first playoff game till year 6. And that makes me think of Justin Herbert, right? He has 0 playoff wins so far. I think this is the year he finally gets one, but you cannot be in that conversation until you win a playoff game.
Yep. All right, next topic. According to Last Words on Sports, never heard of them, but according to them, the Chargers are now involved, so I'm going to bring it up. The Bears are looking to trade their veteran tight end Cole Kmet. So he came into the league also in 2020. The Chiefs and the Chargers are the 2 teams that are mentioned that he will be traded to. Does it surprise you that there's that rumor out there, and at the same time, any interested in Kmet, who had 47 receptions for 474 yards and 4 touchdowns last season?
Sorry, I'm trying to change the colors here. No, then I'll tell you the reason why. If Cole Kmet was so damn good, why did they draft Colston Loveland with the number 10 pick?
Exactly.
Right? There's something going on here. And I'm completely fine with what the Chargers have right now without giving up more stuff. And I think we don't have a good tight end room, but I don't think Cole Kmet is going to turn the world on its head. Do you feel the same way?
No, I'm not. I was never a huge fan, honestly. I just never was. Never a huge fan. I know he went to Notre Dame. He reminds me of a guy that should play at some team in the Midwest. He's not what I want to see. Actually, I'm excited to see what the Chargers have. The Chargers are high on these guys in the draft. Let's see what these guys can do. We've heard great things before really officially camp opens about the young guys that they drafted and how they think they hit a home run on this draft. Let's see what happens here before they trade for a guy who only had 47 receptions last season.
Exactly. They, like I just said, they brought in Colson Loveland for a reason. They don't think Cole Kmet is a tight end one. Why should the Chargers believe they have something in Cole Kmet if the Bears don't either?
Okay, yeah, we're on the same page on this deal. And I guess the reason the Bears didn't trade him before the draft is maybe it would, tip their hand on that they're taking a tight end. Again, you were picking at number 10. I don't know who was going to take a tight end before you, why you probably couldn't get the most value by trading them before the draft. It seemed like that would have been the way to go. Sometimes I think guys outthink themselves as far as, what's important. But so the Bears run the organization their way, and that's the way it goes. But anyway, all right. The next segment for you is the Chargers are listed as one of the top 10 games to watch, according to Fox Sports. Okay. There are 10 games they listed as the top 10 games you need to watch this season. All right. I'm going to give you the rundown. Starting at number 10, it's the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are you going to watch this game?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it for Aaron Rodgers.
Of course.
Are you?
Right? Of course I am. I am. With all the trash talking and everything else about saying goodbye to Aaron Rodgers, I will watch the Packers and Steelers. Again, that game is in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Okay, I feel like they screwed that one up, but yeah, it should be in Green Bay.
They did screw it up. It wasn't like there weren't rumors, right, that Aaron Rodgers was going to the Steelers the entire time, but they did kind of screw that one up. Just like the NFL always screwed it up that Michael Vick, who was traded away from the Chargers, who should have been the number 1 overall pick to San Diego at the time, that was the one where they got LT. Michael Vick never played as a Falcon in San Diego. It was always, I understand that it is what it is, but how has that not become a Monday night or Sunday night football game where Michael Vick finally plays in front of the team that was supposed to draft him at number 1, but they never did it.
Yeah, and you had the two most dynamic players in the NFL right at that time, Michael Vick and LT. NFL, yep. What are we doing?
Come on. The NFL, selling jerseys all over the place. Absolutely. Michael Vick did play quarterback for the Steelers on Monday night. Do you remember that?
I was at that game. Yeah, I do remember that. That was weird. That's one of those immaculate grid things. Can you name every team Michael Vick played for? Pittsburgh Steelers. There you go.
That's funny. All right, here we go. Game number 9. Here's your Chargers right here. It's the Houston Texans at the Chargers. Game number 9 that you need to watch this season.
So this is the only Charger game in the top 10?
Yes.
Do we have bad blood with the Houston Texans because of one playoff game? I feel like this is game number 4 or 5 that's the most interesting on the Chargers schedule. What do you think?
I think for Charger fans, they would say the same exact thing. But that's how it is. It's an elimination game. Maybe they think there's bad blood. CJ Stroud getting a chance to come home where you played his high school football. I don't even know if that's a story. But basically, that's it. You're looking at a Houston team that won 10 games last year, a Charger team that won 11 games last year. Texans basically ended the Charger season. We couldn't have played worse. And this is listed as number 9 games you need to see.
Okay, I'll name every game on the Chargers schedule that I'm more interested in than the Houston Texans game.
Okay.
Houston Texans game is week 17, so maybe that's why. I could also not mean much at that point. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, you're right.
I think the first game of the season in Brazil against the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it's a much bigger game, right? Week 1, first game of the NFL season. Then you have, I think the Steelers game is just as big as the Texans game. I think the Commanders game is going to be great to see where you stack up against another good team in the NFC. The Eagles game is going to be fantastic. And then the Chiefs game in Arrowhead on December 14th. I care about all those games as much or more than the Houston Texans game.
Agree with you. I do. I agree with you. All right. Well, that's what they have. Number 8, it's the Detroit Lions at the Washington Commanders.
I'm a little bit with the Lions fatigue right now. Like I kind of over it a little bit. I feel like this is year 3 or 4 of pushing this Lions agenda. That's probably going to let you down in the playoffs. Are you all for this?
I'm not sure what the Lions are. Again, the Lions lost their 2 coordinators, right? They lost a key offensive lineman piece. I'm with you on the fact that the Lions, now it's year 3 of, watch what the Lions do. And the Lions haven't been to a Super Bowl. I mean, they went 15-2 in the regular season last year, and they couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. They were eliminated in the divisional round against the Commanders. Okay. So I can see why they're saying that's a comeback game, kind of like what they did with the Texans and Chargers. But I'm one of those guys that would tell you a year ago, I want to watch this. I even said it 2 years ago, because when the Lions beat the Chiefs, remember on Thursday Night Football to start the season, I'm in for every Lions game I can catch. They're exciting to watch. And then now I'm to Lions fatigue, like you just said. I think I find myself rooting against the Lions.
I hate that the Lions use 2 running backs. I feel like they have the third best running back in the NFL in Jahmyr Gibbs. Yet we're going to take carries away from him to give him to David Montgomery, who might be a top 10 running back as well. I don't know. It's weird to say you're tired of the Lions. Kind of tired of the Lions a little bit.
Tired of the Lions. All right. You'll like game number 7. Okay. It's the Baltimore Ravens at the Chiefs. Game number 7's Ravens at Chiefs. We all know the whole story. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson can't get to Super Bowl and do his thing. I mean, you're looking at guys who have won MVPs on both sides with Mahomes, multiple MVPs on both sides with the Mahomes and Lamar Jackson going head to head. Again, it's one of those, to me, when I look at the Ravens Chiefs, the Bills Chiefs, nothing surprises me when the Chiefs lose to either one of these. It's the postseason where they have a hard time getting by the Chiefs.
I agree. This is a great game. 2 AFC heavyweights. As you go down this list, are all of them non-divisional matchups?
No, that's not true.
Okay, so there is some divisional games in there.
Yeah,
I think this is great. I think I haven't looked at the Chiefs schedule, but if the Chiefs play the Bills, that would be a bigger game than this. But obviously, the Ravens and Chiefs do not like each other, so I'm all for it.
Okay. Game number 6. Here's your Lions fatigue. Lions back at it. They're Lions at the Bears, or versus the Bears. They played each other twice. Again, we all know the story. It's the Lions OC, who's now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. The big story is that makes this game a game. Are the Bears finally going to be the Bears everybody thought they were going to be? And that's always the question. The Bears get a lot of hype, especially after getting Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick in 2024. If the Bears aren't worth the hype, then it's going to be a blowout, an embarrassing moment.
Has any team let down their fans more than the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
I mean, right. How many times have we been told the Bears are going to be much better this year? They have Jay Cutler. They have Jason Campbell. They have Kyle Lorden. I don't care who they have. They need to prove to everybody in the NFL that they're worth a damn. I get it because of their OC going over to the Bears, but you got to prove it first. To me, I think this game's way too high on the list.
It's like that old line. When I die, I want the Chicago Bears to be my pallbearers so they can let me down one more time. I mean, that is it right there. I mean, the Bears are the number 1 team in Chicago. They're bigger than the Bulls. They're bigger than the Cubs. They're bigger than the White Sox or even the Blackhawks. And I said Hawks. And at the same time, the Bears are the team that disappoints over and over again.
Always. What do you got next?
All right, number 5. It's the Philadelphia Eagles versus and at the Washington Commanders.
No. What?
Okay. Now, again, these are considered 2 of the best teams in the NFC. You know, I don't think the Commanders are up to the challenge that the Eagles are. I think the Eagles are steps ahead of where the Commanders need to be. I don't know if the Commanders take a step back. I know the Commanders have made moves that are supposed to make them better. I just don't think the Commanders move up from where they were a year ago. I don't think you're catching anybody basically off guard if you're the Commanders. Everyone knows what you are, and you're getting their A game every single time.
Yeah, so I think this should be on the list because, they played each other in the NFC Championship. They're in the same division. I hope the Chiefs and Eagles game week 2 is higher on this list because I think that would make a lot more sense. I don't know what's on your list.
Okay. Hold on a second, as I just lost it because I went back to look at you. Hold on one second. I will get there for you. Again, I'll say this as I'm pulling it up. I can't get enough of Jaden Daniels. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL. I liked him, watching him play in college. Didn't like when he played against my team, but have the Commanders put enough around him to make him elite, great, possibly win a Super Bowl in his second year? All right, next up on the list, we have the Ravens against the Bills. Number 4. Fantastic game.
I love this. I love the storyline between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Who can win this game to lose to Patrick Mahomes? It's good stuff though. I think both guys are Hall of Fame they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. It's pretty cool how many great quarterbacks are in the AFC. I think Charger fans definitely care about this matchup because you want to compare Justin Herbert to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's one of the best matchups in the NFL today, right? Whenever the Bills or the Chiefs or the Ravens play each other, you have to watch the game.
Yep. This is the playoff game, of course, where the Ravens and Bills faced each other, where the Ravens had, they rallied. They had the touchdown. Mark Andrews doesn't catch the 2-point conversion, and then everything goes to hell. And then we all know how it works out, right? This is where everybody wanted Mark Andrews off the Ravens at that moment. Mark Andrews still part of the Ravens, by the way. At the same time, the Bills Ravens are both waiting for the Chiefs to take a step back, so they think they're that new team to dominate the AFC. They're next in line if they can get the Chiefs out of the way. That's what they're looking at.
Yep.
Third game on the list. It's the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills.
Chiefs and Buffalo Bills, fantastic. You can make an argument that fantastic. You can make an argument that this could be number one on the list. This is a must-watch game for anybody in the NFL. I don't know how you could call yourself a football fan and not tune into this game. All Charger games are the most important to me, but if it's not a Charger game, I'm going to watch the other top dogs in the AFC.
Yep. All right. So here we go. We'll go down to number 2. Number 2 is the Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles.
See, this Lions thing is getting out of hand. It's just getting way too out of hand. I'm not, the game that you just said between the Chiefs and Bills is much bigger than the Eagles and Lions. Who's writing this? This guy from Philadelphia? This guy from Detroit? I 100% disagree. I don't agree with this.
All right. So number 1, again, it's your Philadelphia Eagles and the Chiefs, and two teams obviously have matched up in multiple Super Bowls. At the same time, this game's in KC, and it's again an opportunity where you might see them in the Super Bowl again. But at the same time, I'm going to look at this list, and everyone's saying obviously Philadelphia. You can figure it out. They believe Philadelphia, Detroit, and Washington are the 3 best teams in the NFC. I'm going to disagree. I mean, I just gave you the top 10, and the Rams aren't in any of these games. I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFC right now. Remember, the Rams were the closest team to beating Philadelphia in a crazy snow game. I think the Rams deserve to be considered right there. And, maybe Charger fans won't like that because they share a city with the Chargers, but we're just looking at NFL as far as excitement and reasons to watch. The list isn't terribly bad, but I think when you have arguably the best team in the NFC not listed in any of the top 10 games, I think you drop the ball.
I couldn't agree more. Rams to me are the second best team in the NFC. The Rams even play the Eagles this year, week 3. I'd watch that game for sure. I'd even say the Eagles and Rams is more contentious than the Chargers and Texans. I mean, I love the Chargers, but like I said, I don't think the Chargers and Texans is going to be that much of a matchup where you're like, oh, we really hate each other. If I was to ask you the question, what's the best rivalry in the NFL today? What would you say?
First one that comes to my mind, I would probably say Buffalo and KC.
I agree.
I would say Buffalo, KC, and it's weird because Buffalo plays great against them and during the regular season, but in the postseason they can't get past the hump.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't get over the hump with these two teams when they match up. It's always great. I feel like the Chiefs and Bills is kind of like what the Padres and Dodgers are. Like whenever they get together, it's going to be an amazing game. But it seems like the same team wins most of the time, where it's either the Dodgers or the Chiefs, right? I agree. It's the best matchup in the NFL. The second best matchup to me would be the Chiefs and the Eagles, since the Eagles won last year. I think they definitely hate each other. It seems like both teams really don't like each other. The Ravens, to me, are like the weirdest team in the NFL because they can't win in the playoffs, but yet nobody wants to play them. I would make an argument I'd rather play against the Buffalo Bills than the Baltimore Ravens, yet the Ravens have never really made a true run in the playoffs.
In a long time. A really long time, right? I mean, we're talking Joe Flacco times. The Ravens haven't done anything in the playoffs.
John G says best rivalry is still Pittsburgh versus Baltimore.
Disagree. I disagree. And I used to love that game. The one thing, John, that I liked most about that game, one of my least favorite sayings in football is, man, that game was physical. Because I'm like, every football game is physical. When the object is to knock a guy to the ground and consider the play over, it's a physical game. But when you watch the Ravens and Steelers play, it was a whole different level of physical. Like it looked like, I'm going to try to end this guy's career physical. And it was rough. And that all started when you had Ed Reed and you had Palomalu, you had Ray Lewis. I mean, you had some big time Hall of Fame, big time hitters that, let you know where you were. I hate to say it, Pittsburgh hasn't lived up to their part of the bargain. That's where they're at. Baltimore's still Baltimore, and Pittsburgh's the one that's dropped the ball. You can't tell me it's one of the best rivalries right now when Pittsburgh isn't a solid playoff team.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Aaron Rodgers might bring a little more juice to the matchup, but I don't think it's the best rivalry in the NFL today. I still think it's the Bills and Chiefs. Which division do you think has the most contentious rivalries? To me, I think the teams that hate each other the most and the fan bases that hate each other the most mostly would be the NFC East. To me, always seems like a very contentious division.
Yeah, you didn't pick the AFC or NFC South. Those weren't big ones for you. That big Colts Jags rivalry. Every time the Jags and Texans get together, not one of those.
Clear your schedule for that.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's the NFC East. Those guys hate each other. I mean, we talk about this all the time. How you're the team when everyone says the most important game on your schedule is that one team. I mean, in baseball, I love it. As I said, I'm a Dodger fan, so everybody in the NL West wants to beat the Dodgers. Look, in the NFC East, I'm sure they would all say the number one team they want to beat is the Cowboys. But let me tell you, when the Eagles are taking on the Giants or the Eagles are taking on the Commanders, it's the same. I mean, no one's going, hey, it's not important to me. It's not going to hurt as bad. It's going to hurt. Like, it's going to bother me the entire week if my team loses any of those games. If you're a fan of any of those teams in the NFC East, I find it fascinating to watch the hatred of those cities. And look, it helps that the weather's miserable. It helps that a lot of these guys go to work on Monday in crappy jobs and have to wait till Sunday to feel better. Dude, it is what it is, And so to me, I find it fascinating that those guys live such miserable lives that the only relief they get is NFL football.
Two things about what you just said. I think one of the big reasons it's so contentious is you have 4 major cities, right? 3 of them are at terrible weather, right? They have nothing going on besides their football. The weather sucks in the fall. All we have is Sundays, right?
Yep.
Also, where would you put the AFC West? People are saying the AFC West is the most heated division. Is it because we're fans of the AFC West and that's the way you see it? Because I think around the NFL, they look at the AFC West as a good division, but they wouldn't say, oh man, those teams really, really hate each other. I think the way that most people look at it is everybody really hates the Chiefs.
Yeah, so everyone hates the Chiefs. The Chiefs are number one. It used to be the Raiders in that division that everyone wanted to beat the Raiders. It's the Chiefs. I mean, they've earned it. The Chiefs have basically become relevant. You can say whatever you want. For years, the Chiefs weren't relevant, and now they're really the team in the AFC, or I guess nationally. I think most people want to see lose on a regular basis. They're tired of it. But it's hard to stop them. I mean, they have a lovable coach, a quarterback people hate, a tight end people hate, and even ownership. I mean, people are tired of the Hunt family. And if you follow the family, even on Instagram, it's frustrating to watch them. But the AFC, let's be honest. If you live in Los Angeles, you live in Las Vegas, you live in Denver, then you're living a pretty good life. You probably are, right? Weather's not really a factor as far as, it's miserable. Even the snow in Colorado is manageable compared to other places. But when you sit there and you look at some of these, the NFC East, like you were saying, dude, there's so much about life that is hard. Life's not really hard when you live in the 3 of those 4 cities. I don't even think life's hard in Kansas City, Missouri.
There's lots of barbecue, right?
Yeah, lots of barbecue. Things are easy. You have your trophy case. I mean, come on. How hard is it to be a Chiefs fan right now? It's just about keeping the momentum going. You aren't chasing anything.
Yeah, the hardest thing about being a Chiefs fan is living in Kansas City, right? Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, but you tell people there they live in the greatest place on the planet. You
can lie to yourself all you want.
Yeah,
they're in denial.
It's a dump.
Yeah. We'll go with the comments real quick. We got Leah Smith, 999. She says, in my opinion, considering our wide receiver room is trash, other than Ladd, the best thing Herbert can do to raise his ceiling is to run, and stay healthy would be number 2. Laugh out loud.
Look, I'm not going to disagree that this wide receiver room is not any good. I mean, most people don't think it's any good. If we're looking at from afar, we'd say it's not that good. But again, I'm going to say, let's see what our draft picks did. Let's see. I'll be upset with Quentin Johnson for the longest time, unless for some reason he figures it out, because I keep looking at draft picks. The Chargers had to go out and get more wide receivers because he couldn't hold up to his part of the deal. He wasn't the player the Chargers thought they were getting, and so they've had to go chase wide receivers in draft since.
Yeah. I mean, you got to consider that QJ has a lot of upside still, right? He has a lot to prove that maybe we haven't seen yet. You got QJ, Trey Harris, and Keandre Lambert-Smith, 3 guys that could turn it up this year. With that being said, I think the Chargers are still very much a run-first team. I would like to see Justin Herbert run, but we need guys to get open, right? That was the problem last year. Josh Palmer couldn't get open, and it seemed like Ladd was the only one that can consistently get open when you needed him to. Let's see if these guys can step up this year and do that for Justin Herbert. Next one we got is from AK. He says, I want to start with my defensive predictions. Hanley and Junior Colson will be top linebacker duel in NFL defense's top 5. Will carry us to San Francisco. Let's go. Do you think that Junior Colson and Dion Henley are going to be top 5 linebackers?
Man, I would absolutely love it. AK, I'd absolutely love it. By the way, was that his big news? He said he was going to come in with the giant prediction, right?
I think that might be his prediction.
Yeah, I think this was it. This was the one. Hell, he went back to all caps again, but okay. Dude, let me tell you, I know I was tough on Junior Colson last year. I mean, I really disappointing as far as, what I thought he was going to be and what he was. I thought he was undersized. I thought he was thinking the game too much. It didn't seem like it came second nature to him. And by the time that happens, you're lost and the plays by you. Basically, you didn't do your job the way you're supposed to. I hope he figured out. He does look much bigger than he did a year ago. Like, he looks like he put time into his diet and weight room. He looks like a linebacker right now.
Good, because he didn't last year.
No.
And we said going into last season, right? How can we rely on Henley? He didn't even play his first year, and then he blows up and has a great second season. Who knows? Maybe we can see that out of Junior Colson. If that does happen and both guys are balling, Chargers are going to win a ton of football games. All right, we got AK back-to-back, $4.99 says, now, Uncle Dave, I have a question. Please be honest with me. If the Spanos family sells the team after the Super Bowl title, will the new ownership move us back to San Diego?
All right, it's a good question. All right, because San Diego fans are delusional. One, I don't think the Spanos family is going to sell anytime soon, but I could be wrong. I mean, the Lakers just went for $10 billion. I have a whole theory on this, that this is where billionaires show their wealth. I've said it for the longest time. It's not about buying the biggest house or about buying the nicest cars. It's about owning a professional team. And there's nothing like owning a professional team like the NFL. That's where you want to be. So if he were to sell the team, could you imagine if he sold it to Mark Walter, who just bought the Lakers, the Dodgers, and he also owned the Chargers? That'd be incredible right there. The Chargers don't have, by the way, bad stuff around them. I mean, they got a great stadium that Stan Kroenke paid for. They got a fantastic practice facility. They obviously spent money on a head coach. It's a different Charger organization than it had been in the past for years. Wherever they are sold to, if that ever happened, they aren't taking the team out of LA. The NFL wants the Chargers in Los Angeles. They want two teams in that major market, just like they want 2 teams in the New York market, even though they play in New Jersey, which is crazy. But here's the deal. San Diego, for anyone who's still a San Diego Charger fan, because I get people that talk to me all the time about this show, either they're still Charger fans or they hate the Chargers, but they can't stop looking, because we say once it's in your blood, it's hard to throw your team away. Whatever team you're with, you aren't getting rid of them. They're just there. They aren't coming back to San Diego because there's nowhere to play. Where are they going to play? And the way the NFL is going to do it is you would have to build, literally, Josh, like a $5 billion stadium, and then petition to the NFL to say, hey, we're ready for a team. And then the NFL could still say no. You telling me someone's going to put up $5 billion for a chance of a no? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but the Chargers or the NFL are not coming back to the San Diego market for my lifetime. San Diego has lost 2 NBA teams. They lost the Rockets, and a lot of people are like, well, the Rockets were in San Diego. Yeah, they lost the Rockets. They lost the Clippers. They almost lost the Padres twice, once in 1974, once again in 1998, and then they lost the Chargers. This is where the city is as far as San Diego goes. LA is not losing the Chargers to San Diego. It's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. All right, B. Hannon says, $5. Have you ever had a bad roommate, not including your significant other?
Okay.
I've only lived with one girl, and it's gone well so far. But what do you got?
It's gone well so far. All right. Here's the deal. I saw in the comments as they're going by, I think it was Alana Moore said in here, I have a bad roommate story, and I was been consumed with it ever since it went by the screen. I love bad roommate stories. It's one of my favorite things. Everybody has them. I've had a couple of roommates before I got married in college, and Some were good, some were bad. I have a roommate that is a friend of mine today. I haven't seen him in 20 years, but we'll still talk on the phone. Two things. My first or second day that I lived with him, I punched him in the chest pretty hard. And he said to me last time I talked to him, and this was at least 30 years ago, my life has never been the same since you punched me in the chest. Said I have not felt healthy since that day. And I was like, oh boy. So I felt bad about that. And then when you have roommates, especially when you're in college, you play pranks on each other. And one day, myself and another roommate, we put like a box of X-Lax in a spaghetti sauce just because we thought it would be funny. And we almost killed him. I mean, he almost had kidney failure. He literally laid in that bed for a week just begging us to go get toilet paper. And he laid there in the fetal position for a week and missed class and everything. We made an agreement, the roommate and I, we would never tell him. And then, of course, my other roommate did tell him. So to this day, I'm a little paranoid. He's somehow going to get me back somewhere. Like there's going to be a revenge moment where, hey, you know what? Remember when you guys did that to me? So roommate stories are different, I think, than when you're in college. You do all the dumb stuff. You put the cellophane over the toilet seat, you know, and guys pee and it all splatters back on a guy. That sucks. You know, we used to, you know, you do number two, and then you tell your buddy there's a dead mouse behind the toilet, and he's like, "Where?" You go behind the toilet, and then he has to go in there, and he's on his knees, and he's looking behind the toilet, but he's smelling how bad the bathroom is, even though there's not a mouse back there. We're just laughing that he's getting his head near the toilet, and he'd play dumb tricks on each other. It's terrible, terrible.
You make it sound like everybody does those things that you just did. I've never done any of those things.
In college,
in college, I had bad roommates. I had random roommate. You at least were with people you knew, right, prior to living there.
I knew two of the three people I lived with, and the fourth one couldn't take it anymore. It was very weird. Moved out. By the way, real quick, before you go on. John says Dave is where the Gaylord Hotel site is, where the Charger Stadium was supposed to be. The very first time back in 2004, and Mark Fabiani, who works for the Chargers, used to come on my show. The plan was to put it right there. If anyone in San Diego knows, off of J Street, off the 5, it would have been right next to the ocean. Gaylord Entertainment just built this giant facility, which they were supposed to do in 2004. And it would have been basically a 7-minute drive to downtown. The Goodyear blimp shot would have been the Coronado Bridge, downtown San Diego, the Pacific Ocean, and people in other cities would have said, I'm vacationing right there. And it would have been great for everybody. But San Diego, for some reason, doesn't want to raise the hotel tax, where it's only 11%. I think it's like 22% in most cities. And because of that, San Diego's so goddamn dumb. I mean, it'd be like someone saying, hey, I want to pay your mortgage. And you go, no, I got it. I'll pay my own mortgage. And San Diego won't raise their hotel tax, their traveler's tax, and it's ridiculous. And nobody in this chat or anyone else in the history of the world has ever said, you know what, I'd like to take a trip to Hawaii, and then call the hotel and go, just curious, what's the tax? How we aren't going. That hotel tax is insane. Everybody pays the hotel tax. Nobody thinks about it. In San Diego, it's a destination city. You should have taken the hotel tax money the way they do in Phoenix, the way they do in Anaheim, the way they do in LA, the way they do in New York. Every city, there's a hotel tax. Idiots.
All right. One of our favorite shows, before we get to your rant real quick, one of our favorite shows we used to watch all the time was Tosh.0. Remember that?
Yeah.
We used to watch Tosh.0. And
Hell
one
yeah.
of the segments on Tosh.0 was Dick of the Week. And for the first time ever, Dave and I have a Dick of the Week. Can you tell everybody about George Pickens?
Yeah, George Pickens, the Dick of the Week. George Pickens, who was traded from the Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys during the offseason, had agreed to do a youth camp for kids in Pittsburgh. And George Pickens says, I will do it. And they went to him and said, are you still going to do this camp? Even though you're on the Cowboys, he goes, I'll still do it. And here we go, right when the camp was supposed to happen, and it was sold out and take place on June 28th. This Saturday, George Pickens just backed out, said, I'm not going. So George Pickens, not about the kids, not about living up to his word. He is the Bulk Crew podcast Dick of the Week.
He said, F them kids. But good for those. I mean, for those kids, they got lucky. Pat Fearmouth, the tight end, who's just as big of a star as George Pickens, stepped up. All joking aside, good for Pat Fearmouth for stepping up. But good God, you imagine?
Dude, no one at that camp could pronounce his name.
I could barely do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good God. Tell
What a
you
jerk.
tell somebody we're gonna go get a steak. We can go to the steakhouse, and then you end up at Wendy's, and you say, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry about that."
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we got a rant today?
I
by any
got a
chance?
rant. It's about movies and about, I know we have a lot of females that are in the chat today, which I noticed, but this is more for the guys. My rant is about movies that you should have seen. And when we talk about your guy card or just, hey, you should know. Okay. Like it's not a lot. Like you ever talk to someone, you're telling a story and you go, well, you know, you've seen, and you throw the movie out there that you think everybody has seen and they haven't seen it, you know, like
Yeah.
whether it's Billy Madison or it's Tommy Boy, anything that you go, yeah, you know, just like in, I've never seen it. And then you can go to crazy movies. Like you remember in The Wizard of Oz, the Flying Monkeys? I never saw The Wizard of Oz. There's that one person that has no idea what you're talking about. You look at him, you're like, have you never seen The Wizard of Oz? Like, dude, what's wrong with you? Okay. So I'm gonna give you 5 movies that give you your guy card. Okay. I'll tell you right now, if you haven't seen these 5 movies, you probably shouldn't be listening to the show. Okay. Because I don't know you anymore. All right. Number 1 is Shawshank. Okay. If you have not seen Shawshank Redemption, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Most people argue, say it's the greatest movie of all time. It's one of the movies I've literally seen hundreds of times that if it's on TV in an hour, I won't even walk away from the TV. I'll cancel every appointment I had and go, I'm not leaving. I got to finish watching. I watched Shawshank all the way through. Okay.
My favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. By the way, didn't win movie of the year. Okay.
Great. Most insane movie year, by the way.
It was the most insane rotation. There were like 3 crazy movies out there, including Forrest Gump, which did win. Right?
Yeah.
There's a third
what
one
else
in
was
there.
out there?
Yeah, look it up. I think it's
1994 is known as the year of the great movies, right? Like the best movie year of all time. Of course, I can't find it when push comes to shove.
Okay. John G says Rambo, Commando, Predator, Rocky. I just lost it. You just jumped somewhere. Anyway, he had a list in there. All right. Here we go. Godfather 1 and 2, you have to have seen. I'm sorry. I don't know you again if you haven't seen those first 2. I got something else to tell you. I like the third one also. Okay. Sophia Coppola messed the whole goddamn movie up because she's the worst actress of all time and her dad put her in the movie. I like the third one. I like endings to stories. I like the third one. I'm the only guy on the planet that will admit that publicly. Okay. Number 3, Rocky.
Can I jump in real quick? 1994, yes. Pulp Fiction and Dumb and Dumber also.
Yeah. Got it.
And Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
All right.
Dumb and Dumber's awesome. All right. Should have won an award too. Dumb and Dumber gets better every time you see it, by the way.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Rocky's number 3. Forrest Gump is number 4 for me. Okay. And I'll say that's every person movie. Doesn't have to be a guy card movie. I'll replace Forrest Gump with Scarface as one you should probably see. I know Josh, you haven't seen it.
I've never seen it.
It's not as
good. Watch it
as
this weekend.
Okay. It's not as good as you think it's going to go. Okay. But it's good. Al Pacino says it's his favorite acting role of all time. And for me, Pulp Fiction is it would be my 5th one. So all those movies, if you have not seen those movies, please go out and join society and see those movies.
I'm going to add one to your list. I got to add one to your list. If you haven't seen Wedding Crashers, what planet are you living on? I feel like Wedding Crashers is in the running for maybe the best comedy movie of all time.
It's my favorite. Wedding Crashers is another one I'm not leaving the house. Wedding Crashers is my favorite comedy of all time, and I love comedies. It used to be Old School. Old School's right there too, where I laugh out loud every time. But I can't get enough. Wedding Crashers kills me. Vince Vaughn kills me. I don't know. He gets through the lines, and everyone does just break out laughing.
He's the man. I like this question. So this is from Alternative Q. What's y'all's favorite war movie? He says Enemy at the Gates with Jude Law is underrated in my opinion. I've never seen Enemy at the Gates. Do you have a favorite war movie?
God dang it, man. God, I've seen Saving Private Ryan 100 times, which is really hard to watch. The first 20 minutes is obviously amazing to watch. I always think my grandfather was there during that time. The part in that movie, you've seen Saving Private Ryan, Josh?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. The part in that movie where that guy, the guy that lets the German guy go, and then that guy comes back to kill his friends, and he lets the guy stick that knife slowly through that guy's heart. I can't take it. I got to turn the channel every time. I can't take it. Too much. I agree. It's
what
weird.
About Full Metal Jacket?
Full Metal Jacket's only good the first half of the movie. After that guy kills him, after that dude kills himself, the movie sucks. The whole deal where they go to Vietnam, that part sucks. It's weird. Half the movie's outstanding. The other half is terrible. It's a 10 in the first half. It's a 1 in in the second half. Love you long time. It's not good. And it's weird to ask the question, what's your favorite war movie?
Yeah. People love war movies, though. I mean,
They do. I understand why. It's just a weird way to phrase it.
Yeah. Hacksaw Ridge is really good, Lee. I agree. I saw that recently. I know you haven't seen that movie. You got to watch
And
that
I've
one.
seen, I think I did see Hacksaw Ridge.
You see Hacksaw
And
Ridge?
God dang, I'm drawing a blank right now.
American Sniper?
American Sniper is outstanding. Outstanding.
Yeah. All right. I think we're pretty good. Do you have anything else you want to add in here?
Hold on. I'm laughing. Alana said my dad threatened to go Full Metal Jacket on us every time we were messing up. Arlie Ermey, by the way, I think was a Charger fan. He was the guy that does all the screaming in Full Metal Jacket. He's the guy that was in Saving Silverman, Josh.
Yeah,
the coach, the one that takes the dump in the front yard. Because when I used to go to Charger games in San Diego, he would stand on the sideline right next to me. He was intimidating as hell. But he's no longer with us. He passed away. But I think he might have been a Charger fan just because he was at Ken Pendleton. He was at Charger games all the time.
Matthew, you do have time to watch the Godfather movies.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
Dude, we have until next Tuesday. Yeah, that's your homework. Go watch at least one of them. I think the second one's better, to be honest.
I'd say, and I'll stay with the first one. So just remember this, all right? When you go, who are we talking
right now?
You
do say Steve Garvey's in the background? Godfather
no, I was not. See, I did. I found out this week Steve Garvey's in the background of the Cuban scene in Godfather 2 this week. No, the Godfather 1. Okay. Where Sonny ends up having sex with that girl upstairs at the wedding at the very beginning of the movie, and then he bangs her another time later on before he beats up Carlo in the street. Yeah, you remember?
Yes,
that was your grandmother's like best friend growing up.
What?
Yes. So she was known as the girl that banged Sonny in The Godfather.
God bless her.
That's it. They had 0 lines. Just had to sit on the other side of the door yelling "Sonny, Sonny," as he's banging her against the door.
Right?
Yes.
How long do you think it took her to learn her lines? Should I practice that one?
Yeah, bring it up to your grandmother next time you see her at Sunday dinner.
I'd rather not, but I appreciate that. I'm good, man. I miss Mario. I wish he was here, but it's cool to do the show just us as well.
There you go, Mario. Appreciate everything you do. We'll see you back soon. And again, JT behind the scenes. JT always doing a good job for us, man. We love having him with us this summer. You guys in the chat were outstanding today. That was a lot of fun. So get us through the month of June, and we'll be able to pull this thing off the rest of the way. Otherwise, please subscribe to the show. We'll see you Tuesday at 1:00 Pacific time. For Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. Again, take care, everybody.